Okay, so now that we've done addition and subtraction, let's visualize it. So remember, there's two types of visualization. There's a visualization, the tip to tip or the parallelogram, and I will show both. But first, for negative v, right, what we found earlier for negative v, oops, my pen's not on. Okay, so what we found earlier for v is that this is basically the vector -4, -3. So visually, right, we're going to start with the vector. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 in the x direction, 2, 3 in the y direction. So there's the vector v. And so if we go -4 in the x direction and -3 in the y direction, what we basically have is negative v. So it basically goes in the opposite direction, all right? And then again, for this one, we got 2I minus j. So visually for you, we're 2 in the x direction and -1 in the y direction. So there's basically u. But if I now go, oops, I messed that up. All right, how about I go back? So -2, I just drew negative u, right? And 1, there we go. So there's u, right? And then its opposite would go in the opposite direction. So I apologize for that. So there's u and negative u. So for v plus u, let me just go straight to the picture, right? So for v, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, right? So there is basically v. And what u wants to do is go -2, right? So we're going to actually go back 2, right? So 1, 2, and then up 1, all right? And so there's basically the vector u and the vector v. So the vector that we found in terms of the sum would be this vector right there, right? So there's v plus the vector u, right? And I think earlier what we found that to be is the vector 2, right, comma 4, right? And you can see that that's where that's at, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? So there's basically the tip to tip idea, all right? If we use the parallelogram, let me go ahead and change colors. If we use the parallelogram idea, right, what I would basically do is put u here, form the parallelogram, right? And then that diagonal from the point of origin to that vertex where that diagonal meets, parallelogram meets, right, is the vector v plus u. So you can see either way it works. So do what's more comfortable with you in terms of actually visualizing it and seeing it, all right? And then, of course, for v minus u, right, drawing a picture of this guy right here, right, we're going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So here's the vector v, and then I drew a picture of the vector -u, right, because that's what we have there, and that's basically 2 and -1. So if I drew a parallelogram, so here's the vector -u. If I drew a parallelogram, oops, I better draw a better parallelogram there. Right, so if we drew a parallelogram, right, there's basically where they intersect. And so that vector that I just drew there is v minus u, right? And of course, I think what we found, right, when we took v minus u, right, we found the vector 6, and let me, so 3 minus, I think 2, or 3 take away 1, we found 2. So 6, 2, I think is what we found, right? 4, let me do some scratch work here. 4 plus 2, and then 3 minus 1, yeah, so 6 comma 2 is what we found earlier, right? Which is, again, I think I'm a little off in terms of my picture, but that's essentially what we're looking at there, right? So 2 and that, right? So we just have my picture a little off. So again, perhaps redoing that, we'll probably get a better 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, right? So there's my vector v. And then minus u, well, we're going to go over 2, 1, 2, and then down 1, right? And so there's basically your minus u, so tip to tip. And that's giving us the 6, 2 relatively again. All right, for the next one, I'm just going to show this one because I think you guys got it. So I'm going to disregard that guy. But what we have, right? Visually speaking here, right? We're gonna go 2 in the V direction. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that puts me, right, all the way over here, right? This is 2V, which is basically the vector 8, comma 6. And then 3U, right? Let me do the parallelogram, right? So we got 2, right? And then 1, right? And then we're going to go 2 and 1, 2 and 1, right? So that basically puts us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3. All right, so there is the vector 3u going in that direction. So if I draw the little parallelogram, or if I take this vector here and tip to toe right there, right, what you have is basically the new vector, right, 2v plus 3u. Right, and gosh, I should have wrote down what we got earlier, right? But I think what we got is 8 and 6, and we're adding to that the vector, what was that, -6 and 3. So I think what we got is 2 comma 9, right? And then, so there's the 2 and there's the 9 somewhere up there. So I'm a little off because of my parallelogram, but I hope you got the idea, right? So that is basically a visualization of the vector addition and subtraction that we're doing. All right, so on to an application next. We're gonna go revisit that airplane. Talk to you guys later.